What's up, you guys? Ethan here. So before I get into today's video, I want to give a quick shout out to our 2 new subscribers. We got Justin. What's up, Justin? Thank you so much for subscribing. And then we got my boy Ben. What's up, Ben? How you doing? All right, guys. So in today's video, I have 3 main investing principles and pieces of advice that I want to share to you that I've learned myself and that, through my research and stuff, I've come across. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner investor or, a little more experienced. I think these lessons will be applicable to you. You'll probably find them informative and maybe a little humorous. So my first piece of advice is to invest in yourself before you invest in the stock market. And this can take, the shape of many things. Mainly, I would think books. I've read many books on the subject of investing in money. Right? You should know what a PE ratio is. You should know how to read a balance sheet. Things like that are very fundamental to being able to analyze a company, whether it's from a fundamental perspective or a technical perspective, right? Fundamentals of the business or the fundamentals of charting. I think that those are, pretty basic and pretty important things when it comes to investing, and are often things that are skipped over today. We have so much craziness with all this Reddit, Wall Street's bet stuff. A lot of people are jumping into the market and a lot of people are ignoring these kinds of things. And, I want to spread this message of these couple principles I'm going to talk about today because I don't want people to be left out in the cold. So in that same vein of investing in yourself, you want to kind of set up your objectives and your goals, right? Are you looking to be more of a day trader, short-term investing, or are you looking at the long term? What are the strategies that you can use? What stocks are on the market? What stocks do, I value and resonate with me? What am I trying to do? Am I trying to invest in, stocks itself? Am I trying to do options? What am I looking at, an ETF? Am I looking at precious metals? Am I looking at, stocks or bonds? Or, there's a lot of pieces to consider and a lot of things to put together. And the biggest thing is just being able to be knowledgeable on the subject, right? You shouldn't invest in things you don't understand. And, so investing in yourself, I'd say is the very first thing you should do, whether it's books or YouTube videos or, reading articles or anything like that. That's probably where you should start, first. And that's also where I started. All right, so my second point is to do your research. And this kind of segues pretty nicely from my first point, is you want to use those skills and that knowledge that you've learned from, investing in yourself to be able to do research into these companies, right? Looking at the balance sheet, looking at your PE ratios, looking at, your fundamental technical analysis, looking at all those pieces of the business, management, all those kinds of things, to be able to make intelligent investment decisions. And before I forget, before we go any further, don't take any of this as investment advice. I don't know anything what I'm talking about. Don't do anything with your money based on anything I say in this video. Do whatever you want with your own money. Don't use any of my advice to invest or anything like that. So kind of in context with what's going on with Reddit and everything you see in the media and everyone being swept up in becoming investors overnight, is there's a lot of problems when it comes to, doing your own research. In my opinion, you don't want to get your stock picks from someone on Twitter. Right? You don't want to get them from people on Twitter. And if you look at, Wall Street bets, you have meme stocks, right? Meme stocks. So, when I think of meme stocks and when I think of the word meme, the only thing that I really associate with that is either something that is very funny or something that is very painful. And don't get me wrong, there have been many spicy memes that have come out of this whole thing unraveling with Wall Street bets and the stock market and GameStop and AMC and all that, which is awesome. But you shouldn't just randomly, willy-nilly throw your money at stocks in general, and especially if it's called a meme stock, in my opinion. If you're gonna get surgery, right? Say you got to get surgery for something. Would you go to a meme doctor? A meme hospital or a meme physician? I wouldn't want that. A meme operation, no thanks. And so my prediction is I think we're going to have And unfortunately, some financial Darwinism take place. It's survival of the most financially intelligent, right? So do your own research. If I have a little dough in my pocket, right? Some coin, some bread, some Benjis, and I want to invest in the stock market, I'm not going to take advice from someone on Reddit with the username TickleFunny420 with a hot stock tip when he says, ticker ABC going to the moon. So let's talk about research for a minute. If you invested in the stock market in any period over the last couple of years, there's a very good probability that you probably made money, right? You probably made money on your investments if you were invested in the stock market over the last couple of years, right? In these market conditions, it's very easy to make money, relatively. Now, there's been a lot of research that has gone into how to pick stocks, right? So there's one study where they found monkeys randomly picked stocks and they outperformed hedge fund managers. There was another one that found that stocks that purely based on their ticker symbol name often did better. If they're memorable tickers, they often did better than, other stocks. Now, I'm not saying you should, randomly throw money at stocks and see what sticks. There can be an element of luck involved in some of this stuff, right? And so if I have my hard-earned money, right? If I worked hard for the money that I want to invest with, right? I think I understand the value of a dollar. I'm not just going to willy-nilly throw it at some random stock and see what sticks. I'm going to research whatever it is that I'm going to invest in because I want to make sure that the money I'm going to invest is going to, it's going to be a good investment and it's worth my while. And also that what I'm investing in is something that's, going to return money back to me, obviously, right? It's going to be a good investment for me. So do your own research, right? Don't just take random stock tips and stuff like that, right? In my experience, that doesn't really work. Sure, you can get lucky. Warren Buffett, some of his first investments, he said he just purely got lucky. I think he doubled his money when he first started investing when he was 14 or something like that. And, that's one, I've gotten lucky too on, making money on stocks, pure luck, but that's not a very effective research strategy, right? So do your due diligence, do your research, make sure that what you're investing in is something that you believe is going to do well. All right, guys, so my third and final point that I want to talk about here is invest with money you can afford to lose, right? You don't want this to be money that would traditionally be used for paying off rent or for buying food and groceries and stuff like that. Especially if you're doing super risky stuff, and especially if you're a beginner investor, use play money, use house money, use money you can afford to lose. Because the reality is, if you're a beginner investor, you're doing super risky stuff, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to lose that money. So you're not going to be able to count on it. So I got a little scenario for you guys to think about here. So if you're presented with the opportunity to either definitely win $5 or have a 1 in 100 chance of winning $1,000, which one would you go for? Obviously the $1,000 one, right? You have zero risk involved to begin with, right? You have no money involved in this transaction. There's no counterparty risk. So of course it's advantageous for you to go for the big, $1,000 win, because if you lose, you're going to end up at the exact same place you are right now. So in context with, when we're talking about investing, is when you look at these, specifically Wall Street Bets or, Twitter, whatever it is, and you see people making these huge gains of turning $1,000 into 150 grand or stuff like that. It can be very alluring, right? Who doesn't want to do that? Who doesn't want to turn $1,000 into 150 grand? One, in my opinion, and I'm sure you guys agree with me, is there is a lot of luck involved with something like that. It doesn't happen all the time. So when we're talking about, when you see all these, posts on Reddit or Twitter or whatever it is, where people are making these crazy gains, human psychology, you're like, oh man, like that seems advantageous. I can turn X amount of money into whatever it is. Let me get in on that, right? But the thing about it is you have risk involved in that, right? Obviously, right? You have your own money in the game. And I'd rather look at something, and I'm sure you guys agree with this also, is you'd rather have something that's, one, a little more in your control, and two, a little more dependable in terms of being able to make money off of it, some type of investment, not some super risky, out of the money options play on a meme stock, right? You want something that's a little more predictable and a little more stable, because in the long run, like doing those risky bets is probably not going to pay off. So when talking about risk, there are times that risking it for the biscuit is the move. As long as you know exactly what is in that biscuit. If you are allergic to almonds and that biscuit has almonds in it, that's not going to be a pleasurable experience for you. So if you're going to risk it for the biscuit, make sure you know exactly what is in that biscuit. And the only times that you really want to do that is exactly what's going on. The money that you're using for it is probably something that you're okay with losing. There's not very many times when you do something like that, like in terms of risk management, it's not super wise to risk a lot of your money all the time on, crazy plays. But, in some cases it can be advantageous for you, as long as the cards are stacked in your favor. So before I finish this video, if you guys like, the points that I made here, if you thought it was like maybe a little funny or something, give me a little thumbs up. It helps for the YouTube algorithm, I've been told. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you like videos like this and want more of this kind of stuff. Yeah. All right, guys, so that's kind of my three main things. First being invest in yourself before you invest in the stock market, right? Be educated when you're making these investment decisions. Don't just go all in because someone on Reddit has this, meme stock play for you to go for, or someone on Twitter said something. Like be educated. You should know what a PE ratio is, right? Basic stuff like that. Make your own investment decisions. And then my last point being, use money you can afford to lose, right? Especially if you're doing risky stuff. In my opinion, stuff like, GameStop and stuff like that are super risky plays. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for me. I just wanted to make a quick little video here, mainly because there's so much mania and hype going on with, investing and stuff right now, especially with this whole, GameStop stock thing and AMC and all this stuff. And my biggest concern is that people are going to get burned, right? People are going to get burned when you have these moves like this. You see gains like what people are making, and FOMO comes into play, which I don't blame them. And you have these beginner investors, and they're going to get burned, and they may not return to the stock market, right? The stock market is not a place where you can traditionally just willy-nilly just throw money wherever and you're going to do well, right? It's a sophisticated thing, and to approach something like that, you want to be fully armed with knowledge, right? Knowledge. And so, do your research that we talked about, make your own investment decisions, use money you can afford to, lose in case stuff goes south. Stuff like that is going to put you ahead over the long run, because investing in the stock market can be a great source of wealth. And so hopefully with this video that I put out, someone that might have been looking at YOLOing their life savings into GameStop will look at this and be like, maybe not, maybe we won't do that. All right, guys, thank you so much again. Shout out again, Justin, you're awesome. Ben, you're awesome. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. It really helps. And if you haven't already, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.